Okay, hi everyone. My name's Katie McCoy, and my presentation is on Alfie Kohn. A little bit about Alfie Kohn. He was born in Miami, Florida on October 15th in 1957. He got his BA at Brown University and his master's at the University of Chicago. There's not a whole lot of info on where he taught at the high school and college levels, but he did do so there. He now, though, does mostly writing and lectures. He writes books and he lectures at educational and management conferences and parent groups and organizations. His main theory is grades and homework, and simply put, he doesn't believe in them. He criticizes standardized testing and traditional grading procedures. He says they strive not to excel and be the best they can be, but to avoid punishment or get the reward. So in his mind, there should be no homework, or at least less homework. He thinks it's absurd that teachers would send students home with copious amounts of homework. In his mind, he thinks, why do a second shift? They were already at school for 7, 8, 9 hours during the day. Why should they have to go home, and instead of spending time with their family, they're now doing more work for school? And he calls it homework wars, where the parents, typically the first thing they say to their kid is, do you have any homework? Is it done? So then the parents are now authoritarians over their schoolwork, and they don't actually get to be with their kid who they haven't seen all day. Another view he has on homework is, if you are going to give homework, give the kids options. Let them pick what they're going to do for their homework so that it best suits them. One of the main reasons he doesn't like homework, though, is at home it's an anti-intellectual environment. A lot of times there's not a great stimulation of learning at home. When you're at home, you should be with your family. Another thing that he says, because people will argue, well, it teaches discipline or responsibility or how to do things on their own. But from one of his articles that I read, it says, not a single study has ever supported the folk wisdom that homework teaches good work habits or develops positive character traits such as self-discipline, responsibility, or independence. So, really, what is homework doing? Why do we assign homework? Is it because we think they're learning? Because research would show that they're not learning. It's just a means to an end. Alfie Kohn also said, the more engaged they are on how well they are doing, the less engaged they are on what they are doing. So maybe a student learns at first, but eventually they realize, all I have to do is get an A. So I'll just complete the assignment and get an A, but did they actually retain anything? Did they actually learn something? Or was it just a means to an end? Another point is grades. He doesn't like grades. He views them as comparing the students to each other. And those that aren't doing as well, it makes them feel lesser. Grades end up being the object of desire and not actually learning. Students value the grade more so than actually learning something. In his mind, you should have, if you do have homework, the next day during class, you discuss the homework and you learn from the homework and you don't actually grade the homework. That way everybody learns something. A few of his historical precedents are John Dewey, Jean Piaget, and Carl Rogers. I immediately thought of Dewey when I was researching Alfie Kohn because he is a big believer of learners together. The teacher and the student work together to come to one understanding. It shouldn't be the teacher just filling an empty vessel. Kids are smart. They're intellectual. They're not empty vessels to be filled, as Dewey would say. And then Jean says that the ideal of education is not to teach the maximum, to maximize the results, but above all to learn, to learn to develop, and to learn to continue to develop after leaving school. And Alfie Kohn doesn't think that grades and homework are learning to learn, and they're not learning to develop through those. Maybe it works for a couple of kids, but eventually they just desire a good grade, not the actual learning process. Implications in the 21st century and for myself. Alfie Kohn has ruffled quite a few feathers, I would say. There have been schools and classrooms that have decided to not give homework, or they've lowered their homework that they give out to students. And some people love this idea, and some people who are maybe a little more traditional really don't like it and think, no, grades are the way to go. You have to give homework. Kids need homework. But as Alfie would say, we're creating winners and losers. Is that what we want? Do we want our kids to learn that you're a winner because you did this and you're a loser because you didn't? We all should be working together towards the same means to an end. And for myself, my mindset has definitely changed a little bit towards this, because at first I was like, this is kind of crazy, like no grades, then like what's the purpose? But I'm still not sure how I feel about the grades, because I definitely understand that we need some type of scale to measure how the kids are doing. I just don't know what that is in a perfect world. And as far as homework goes, I kind of side with Alfie Kohn on this one. Like, why do we need homework when kids have already been in school for 8 hours a day? They didn't learn enough in that day that they need to go home and spend more work on it. So that's how it is for the 21st century and myself. Criticisms. There's definitely mixed feelings. Some people love it, some people hate it. The more traditional people definitely hate it and think he's like crazy. Like, what do you mean no homework and no grades? Like, that's what school is. And that's kind of what I thought at first, but through personal experiences of my own education, I kind of think about it, and yeah, my homework was a means to an end. I got a good grade, cool. But can I recite things from high school? No, probably not. Maybe the things that I really enjoyed or really liked. So there are criticisms, but I think there's definitely more people that are open-minded to his theory on grades and homework. These are my references. I hope you learned something today, and I hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you.